It's time to go balls deep.
The EA Sports College Football Headquarters Podcast.
Hey everybody, Alan Gigax here, checking in with co-host Anthony Scafacci. And we have been talking a lot of nonsense lately, been doing a lot of shit that has very little to do with the video game that we all love so much, that is the focus of our webpage. And so it's time to talk about the video game.
Yeah, we gotta get back to basics a little bit. Hit the fundamentals, maybe.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Focus on the fundamentals.
Let's go out and hit the sled a few times.
Right, get some blocking, some tackling drills.
Yeah.
And really get back, get our heads in the fucking game.
Yeah.
All right, so speaking of the game that we are interested in is our own online dynasty, the Dads League, the Al Bundy Dads League, where we started out with a bunch of one-star teams that suck balls and try to turn them into good programs. So we finally finished our first season. You know, the nice thing about the Dads League, for me, is we go at a slower pace.
Sure.
And so there's probably leagues out there that are 10 seasons in by now.
Oh, fuck, dude. There's leagues that are doing like every 24 hours or every 48 hours. I think the standard's probably 48 to 72 hours.
Dude.
And so our 4 to 5 days, dude, we're moving at a fucking snail's pace compared to them.
Right. Yeah, so we finally finished our first season, and there was a lot of variety in how people finished. We had one person finish with no wins at all.
Yeah, that guy, it was Jacksonville State? No, I think it was Jacksonville State.
It might have been. Yeah, it was one of those.
He got mollywopped. I mean, there's no other way to put it. He was over. Yeah. And, we're not really sure because we didn't watch any of his games. But, dude, let nobody say he will not take an L.
Yeah, right. That dude's got integrity.
Yeah, that guy's fucking
he doesn't
got
have
integrity.
skill, but he has integrity.
Yeah, that guy, I'll take 12 more of him in the league.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, exactly. You know, because some guys, they don't necessarily want to take an L, as we'll get to a little later.
Yeah, and we have coach firing turned off.
No, it's on.
Oh, is it? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude, he's got to be on the hot seat.
Yeah. That dude's going to wind up being a defensive coordinator at a junior college.
Dude, I might have him just come work for me.
Yeah, there you go. Bring him on the staff at Buffalo.
Yeah.
So how did your season end up at Buffalo?
So at one point, I was 2-6. Things were bleak. I was down a lot of those games trailing 28-0 first quarter, 35-7 at the half. I mean, things were rough. But I got things on track, simplified my offense, and basically managed to win 4 straight, including a player game, to make it to a bowl game.
Wow. So you finished 6-6.
I finished 6-6.
Right.
But then, because the game hates me, I had to play Texas, for who some reason was also 6-6. Right?
The Texas Longhorns.
Yeah, the Texas Longhorns.
Not like the Texas Green. Or
no,
what was
not
the one
North
for
Texas.
Offense?
Yeah, not the Mean Green or the.
Yeah. Oh, it was the West Texas Armadillos.
Yeah, no, it was not them. It was the Texas Longhorns.
Yeah.
Who I think started the season like at number 4 or something like that.
Oh my god!
And so they ended up 6-6, and so we ended up playing in like the Arizona Bowl, brought to you by. This is going to be a Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre. I'm shit you not. If you look on there,
Wow.
And so I go into the game thinking like, okay, Texas is demoralized. They super underachieved.
Yeah,
they're gonna come out. They're gonna come out flat. They don't want to be here. This is the definition of a team that doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And Buffalo, dude, my
we're
boy,
fired
we're
up.
fired
this is a big
up.
chance.
Right?
It's a big stage.
So anyway, so Texas comes out first in the opening intro, dude, and they looked like they were shot out of a fucking cannon. They were breathing fire, and I was like, oh, that ain't good.
Did they bring that big steer with them?
Jesus Christ, no. And so then it introduces my team. I swear to God, we look sad. We looked like we're about to get our shit pushed in here.
Yeah.
And then lo and behold, they pushed that shit in. Dude, they blew me out 55-0.
Oh my god.
Against the computer,
Yeah.
I'll lose games. Whatever, it happens, right? I mean, but this team was, I think they were like a 90 overall.
Dude.
And my
like
poor
a 73?
Buffalo team was a 72 or 71.
Dude.
And
that's bad.
Dude, they had a defensive end that I could have started at running back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because he was faster.
Dude, he was faster than my running back.
Yeah.
And my God, they murdered me. I benched 2 different quarterbacks that game, thinking
because it was the quarterback's fault.
Yeah, it was the quarterback's fault.
What is this shithead doing?
Yeah. Oh, dude, it was just we got fucking killed. So
Right.
what about you? How about you?
Well, I think we finished either 6-6 or 5-7. I don't remember exactly, but we did not go to a bowl game. I don't think so.
You didn't get to go to a bowl game?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't, honestly, dude, I don't remember.
I thought
know,
you did.
Maybe. It was close. Maybe we went to like the Bahamas Bowl or something.
Yeah,
that sounds right.
For some reason, I thought you played like UCLA or something like that.
Oh no, dude! The beginning of this season. Oh no, last season I played UCLA early on.
Okay,
and kept it close, but then it fell apart.
Yeah,
but dude, the team is. I play a running style team, and that's the idea with Coach Koo. Is that he's like this taker of territory, coaches up offensive line, and I want to get those big Samoa motherfuckers, on the offensive line, and just have a big dominant running game. That's always the way I play. And so that first season was about trying to shift the team over, and get recruits. Like I guarantee you, of the 15 or whatever teams we had last year, that I had the best offensive line recruiting class.
Did you?
But that's about it. Because, dude, I didn't realize when we started that, hey, pro tip listener, if you're recruiting, no matter what school you're at, no matter how bad they are, it turns out that there are infinity 3-star players.
Yeah, more or less. There's thousands of them.
Yeah, and so you should just go after 3-star players.
Sure.
Because at the beginning, I'm like, dude, I got to get anybody.
Oh, yeah, let me get some 1-star guys.
Yeah, and so my recruiting board, by the time I start landing people, I wound up with 15 1-stars, 15 2-stars, and 5 3-stars. Which I got at the end.
At the portal, right?
Yeah, at the portal. Like, I only had 3 roster spots left when I got to the transfer portal.
Sure.
And so I actually got a 4-star blocking tight end, which I'm super excited about. But, dude, my team did not improve.
No. So, but you learned a lot.
I did.
Right? And so so we had one team in our league, Colorado State. He made the actual college football playoffs, and I think he had a bye.
He did.
Going into
first round bye.
A first round bye, but then he got Ohio State, and now he claims the computer fucked him.
I'm sure it did, just like it fucked you in the ass.
Well, but he played them really tough, but he wound up losing to Ohio State. Now I'm not going to lie, because I'm not a hater.
Yeah.
Right. But I was glad for the health of the league that we didn't have somebody win the title in year 1.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the idea was to start with shitty teams.
Yeah, and he did start with a team that was a little bit better, not star rating wise, the same prestige level, but just a little bit better. And in this game, the ratings really matter in terms of like the difference between a team that's say like a 73 overall and a 77 overall is actually pretty sizable.
It is.
You know, so his team I think was like an 80 maybe, like 79 or an 80. But mine was like a 72.
Right.
And so it was a big disparity. But then we also had, Liberty did well. Mm-hmm. Ohio did well, the Bobcats.
Okay.
We had probably about half our teams made a bowl game in the first year.
Made a bowl game.
UNLV made a bowl game. Temple made a bowl game.
Yeah.
So we had some success. Mm-hmm. And then we had, some teams that didn't quite get there, but they still won some games. Mm-hmm. So I think overall, season 1 was a big success. And rolling it into season 2, we got into our off season.
Right.
And so, the off season for me was a bit of a learning curve.
Right. The first time using the transfer portal. For example.
Well, and also kind of as the commissioner, how do we
move, time it?
How do we move things along? Right. So I kind of made the decision that for anything where the coach has no impact, we're just going to skip it.
Like training results.
Yeah, like training results, for example. There's nothing you can do about it. It is what it is. Right. But things like players leaving, if you had a player that was like you could possibly convince to stay, we'll give everybody a chance to convince them to stay. But we're going to give you essentially 24 hours.
Right.
And then we still had trouble getting people to finish. And look, when we got that many people, and actually we had expanded.
Sometimes when I'm having a hard time finishing,
I need eye contact.
Put a finger up my ass.
Yeah, I need eye contact. Eye contact and dirty talk. Dude,
all right, yeah. And different strokes for different folks, right? So to speak. Yeah.
So anyway, we had to get these people. Hey, get on, get your shit done.
Yeah.
And so we tried to advance through it pretty quick, and then when we got to the portal, then we tried to give everybody enough time to actually go through and do it. And
Right.
for me, that was a big deal. So I think I only signed like 5 or 6 guys in
the transfer portal?
No, in the regular season.
Oh, dude, that's terrible.
Yeah, and I think mostly it was like 2-star guys.
Right.
I might have had like 1 3-star quarterback who's not even a style of quarterback I like, but whatever. He wanted to come to my school.
Right.
And I'll take him. But in the transfer portal, by that point, I'd kind of figured out the recruiting and that to only go for the 3-star guys, like you're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I went for 3-star guys, and I wound up, I think, with maybe 16 or 17 guys, but they were almost all, everybody I signed in the portal was like a 3-star guy.
Right.
And so
they're going to step right in and play right away.
Well, not necessarily. Some will. Right, I mean, I wound up getting like a 3-star outside linebacker or something like that. Somebody that I needed to play because of graduation.
Yeah.
But he's only like a 71 overall. But he's now like my starting right outside linebacker.
Dude, going into the transfer portal, I realized that I did not sign a kicker.
Oh,
and I had both my kicker and punter were seniors and graduated.
So do you have walk-ons?
I do.
Oh man,
dude, yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, Okay, so now this year, we're back into the recruiting. I don't want to get too far ahead of it, but I assume you're going heavy on kickers and punters. Okay.
I am. In fact, sorry, Temple, but I'm taking that kicker.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the fun things is we're seeing other humans, going after the same recruits.
In the portal, it was like a fucking clusterfuck. There was. You have to make. You only got 4 weeks.
Right.
There was a lot of competition. And you have to kind of decide, like, to cut bait at some point.
Yeah.
And go, go away.
Find somebody else.
So something else I learned. So where you finish in the regular season provides you more recruiting power in the off season. So like Joe, Colorado State, when I was looking at how many hours people have, he had like 900 hours.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm like, I think it was like 950 or something like that. And so he could dump 50 into everybody.
Right.
He could go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Right. And so Joe's recruiting class was pretty good.
Right.
Liberty had the number 1 out of all of us. And so his recruiting class was, I think, somewhere around the top 35, 36.
Right. I think mine's down in the 80s.
Yeah, mine was like 60 something.
Right.
Which wasn't too bad because it was 108 going into the portal.
Right.
You know, so I signing those 3-star guys really helped. But then, so the timing of it to try to kind of move it along, we got through that. Mm-hmm. And then position changes. I kind of learned a lot because I remember early on when the game was released, there was a lot of on our board, people going like, I can't find the athletes.
Yeah.
Well, I figured out that if you look at your roster and you sort by freshmen, like you can, it'll show them, right? Okay. And so you can go in there and look and then land on the athlete and then click on him and then you can adjust the position he plays. And if you don't, if you decide not to, the computer, if you want computer assistance, it will select the most either like most efficient one. Yeah. So it'll put whatever he's the highest rated. Or if he fits a position that you didn't recruit and you have a need,
you go.
It will put them there if applicable.
Yeah, and I noticed when you're signing these guys, just like in 14, where like you sign an athlete and then when you sign him, it says halfback. It doesn't say athlete.
It does tell you, well, even when you're recruiting them, it'll say like power rusher or their tendency. I kind of wish it didn't do that, to be honest with you, because I was never, even though I know how powerful they were, I was never a big fan of recruiting athletes in NCAA 14, 13, and so on.
Especially at quarterback, they were kind of broken.
Yeah, they were super broken.
Yeah.
Because you would always pretty much get like the combination of like Mike Vick and John Elway. Right. Like this guy was got a rocket
also
arm.
known as John Elway.
Yeah, you would get you would get Aaron Rodgers, right?
Yeah. Well, no, because John Elway could also run.
Yeah.
Some.
But anyway, so with athlete quarterbacks, they were kind of broken.
Yeah.
They probably still are.
Probably.
Right. But we don't have any rules in our league against recruiting them or anything like that. So anyway, though. I kind of wish that it wasn't that way, where you had to figure out like where they
Yeah,
best fit.
what can I do with
and
this
I'll tell
guy?
you what,
Yeah.
you know, what I haven't seen is any pictures on the headquarters of somebody's thing. Oh, where do I play this guy? Dude, I haven't seen a single one of those.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, dude, that used to be so common on 14.
Yeah.
Is I got this athlete, where should I start him?
Yeah.
He could play these 3 different positions. Yeah, dude, that's a good call.
Yeah, and we don't really have that
No,
here.
there's none of that.
There's no question because it's pretty much telling you
Right.
this guy's an outside linebacker, this guy's a
Right.
safety, or whatever the case may be.
It's not that different from when you played Road to Glory
Sure.
as a 2-way player, and you pretty much picked what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's kind of still that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
fair
that
enough.
bad.
All right, so we get to the off season. Some people win their bowl games, some people lose. We get our recruiting classes in, and now it's time to start the new season.
Sure.
So there's some changes in
Yeah.
the new season. First being we got new players.
Yeah, we added 4 to bring us up to 18 players.
Okay.
Which was always actually the plan was to go from 16 to 18, but we lost 2
Yep.
in season 1.
Right.
And so we ended up having to add 4.
Right.
Right. And so we kind of not really solicited. A little bit. We found I made a post.
Uh-huh.
We found I think 2 players there. And then OG Madden
Yep.
joined our league as Toledo,
Right.
as talked about in his episode of the Balls Deep podcast.
Yep.
And then we got a 4th guy who is a friend of Ohio's.
Okay. So friend of a friend.
Yeah, friend of a friend who joined our league. He took Arkansas State. So far, so good for the most part.
Well, except that there's an ethic to the league that, hey, we're not taking this too seriously.
Sure.
It's not cutthroat.
I like to say we're business casual.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're like a mullet.
Right, which is why, like, no Texas, no California, no Florida.
Yeah, which is obviously, or turns out, is a very controversial rule. Makes us bitches.
Ah,
Yeah,
well, so
anybody that
bitches we
hears
are.
that, they're like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Well, I'll tell you why.
Okay.
It's because those states,
Yeah.
even with the new pipeline, the way it works,
Right.
you still have this massive advantage if you start in California, Florida, or Texas.
Right.
Because you're still
That's where
in
the
a
recruits are.
tier 1 recruiting
Right.
state.
And anybody who wants closer to home,
Is-
you got
you
an
got
A
that.
plus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we made that
Yeah, tough
rule.
shit.
And plus fuck those schools anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They get all the love, and we ain't about that. We're trying to spread the love.
Yeah.
So anyway, we also have this ethic of you got to take your losses, like South Alabama or Jacksonville State or whoever it was.
Sure.
You got to take those losses.
Yeah, he had no problem doing that.
Yeah, and
That guy's a fucking hero.
So what did Joe point out to you?
So the other morning, I forget where exactly I was,
Doesn't matter.
but he sends me a picture, and it's one of the players had played the game 7 times, and there still was no result, mind you. And I'm like, what the fuck, right?
Yeah.
And so I, message him like, hey man, what happened here? And his response to me was like, like what? What's the problem here? And I was like, you played it like more than one time, and he's like, is there a limit? And actually there is. Yeah.
The limit is 1.
Yeah, the limit is 1. So he was cool about it. He
Right.
said he'll take the L.
Right.
Right. And
I never even knew that sort of stat existed.
So
I never knew where it was.
Yeah. So what I wonder though, this is what to me the most mind blowing part of that was. I wonder if there's leagues out there where it's like just play until you win.
There must be, or where nobody's checking.
I
It's
don't
like the
know.
Wild West.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, like, here's the thing: is you see a lot of these online dynasties.
Right.
We really only ever see the good parts, right? It's
Oh,
people
yeah.
that
Yeah, of course.
people don't talk about the losses, and
Right.
you know me. What do I always say is the best part of any dynasty?
Anal?
No,
Oh.
not anal.
Okay.
Right? At least not anal without permission.
Okay.
Right?
All
It's-
right. What is the best part?
To me, it's the struggle.
Yeah, sure.
Right? Nobody gives a fuck about winning. Winning is what we all do like 98% of the time, especially once you've played a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
Your team is going to get better. Eventually you reach like this breaking point where dude, you could fucking simulate it and you're still going to win national titles.
Right.
You know?
Especially if you have a team like Ohio State,
Oh,
Texas,
yeah.
anything like that.
And there's a lot of people, and I'm not calling them bitches. right? Not gonna.
That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
Yeah,
they're
I'm
bitches.
not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm saying I've heard.
Yeah.
They might be bitches.
Yeah.
Right. That they're I got to use Georgia. I got to use Ohio State.
Right.
And look, I get it, man. Some people are like Buckeye fans or Georgia fans or whatever,
Right.
and they got to use their own team. I get it, man. I do. I really do. Right. But either those teams have all the fans, right? Or there's some people who just got to use a good team,
Right, because they're not very good at the game.
Yeah, because they're just not very good at the game,
Yeah.
and it's nice to feel good at the game
Right.
when there's 21 other players making you look good, right? And so I'm
Indeed.
not like, once again, with all due respect,
right?
right?
Sure.
With all due respect,
Yeah.
they are not bitches, right?
Sure.
However,
You play the game however you want.
right? Yeah, play the game however you want. I like the shitty teams.
Yeah.
To me, the best part of the game is starting with a fucking dumpster fire
Right,
of a
and
team.
building them up.
And then when you finally get that win, those big wins,
Right.
they really matter.
They do. They're
right?
sweeter. Yeah.
They really matter. And to me, I'll tell people all day long about the shitty losses I take. Right, because I think it's fun, dude. Like,
Yeah.
it's not fun when it's happening to you,
Right.
dude, just like, but it makes for a good story,
It does.
right?
All right. So going forward, now we're in the new season.
Yeah.
And how is Buffalo looking this year?
I'm a little bit better. The team definitely improved over the offseason because in year one, I sacrificed basically the careers of the players that I had that were seniors that hadn't yet to redshirt.
Like you threw them over the falls?
Dude, well, yeah, but what I did is I had some seniors that had not redshirted. Well, I redshirted them.
Yeah, there
to
you
keep
go.
them for an extra year.
Right.
Those guys probably hate me,
Right.
right? But because of that, I had some guys return with a little bit of experience, and so the team did get better. We're a little deeper, a little bit more to the type of football I like to play.
Mm-hmm.
So, we got the season started. We're now in, I think, week 3 of the season. It was my second game.
Mm-hmm.
We're 1-1, but my one win over Liberty.
There you go. Put
Yeah.
them in their place.
Yeah.
Yep. The Flames.
Lost to Minnesota on the road.
Oh, that's a tough one.
I think it was on the road. Yeah, I lost to Minnesota on the road where my guys didn't even have icons over their heads.
Oh, yeah. That's
a lot of
rough. Yeah.
Yeah, what about you?
Dude, speaking of that, my first game was I was hosting Stanford. Motherfucker.
Are they good?
Well, it turns out they've fallen on hard times because I noticed the announcers kept talking about how their coach was about to get fired.
Okay.
But dude, they're still like a high level team, at least compared to what I have.
So speaking of coaches getting fired, in our
dude.
in year
the
one,
first offseason, Dion got
Coach
fired.
Prime.
Yeah.
Anybody know where he went? Have
I
we
have no
tracked him
idea. I
down?
haven't
I'm gonna have
looked.
to go look.
Yeah.
Right, because another guy would hire on my staff.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, he can
gotta
come
get,
to Hawaii.
Yeah, got to get Coach Prime on the staff as like a wide receivers coach or something.
Right. So my first game, I play Stanford, and I'm immediately bitching to Anthony because he's the commissioner.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You're a monster.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it
go
wouldn't.
ahead.
It wouldn't let me customize the schedule. It just kept giving me
Yeah, it turns out that was
the
a
error.
glitch that's
But
been
supposedly they
fixed.
fixed. So
Yeah,
hopefully for year
Next
3, we'll be able to get that going.
I play Stanford, and dude, we fucking bring it.
No,
And we won. Yeah, I beat Stanford.
Nice.
So, yeah, they can go shove
Was
those
that in-
trees
that was
up.
in Hawaii?
That was in Hawaii.
Okay, so you got the home
that's
field
right, Got the
advantage.
home field advantage.
Yeah.
So we won. I played really conservative. And the big thing was no interceptions.
Sure.
So that's huge. And I'm transforming the team into what I want, this running team. And it's a shame because the roster is deep at wide receiver.
I bet.
But it doesn't do me any good.
Sure, you got a bunch of little speedy
Yeah,
Hawaiians
because I'm
out there.
afraid to throw to them.
Yeah.
And so I throw like 10 times a game. And,
whatever
it's
you get.
something.
Look, dude, at this point, it's just about...
It's incremental advances.
Well, and also with 17 other users out there.
Oh, yeah. You got to find your niche.
Dude, this
Right.
is, for some of us, me included,
Yeah.
this build to try to get to like the playoffs and the national title
Yeah.
picture, it's going to take time.
Yes.
Right?
For
And,
sure.
and so it's funny because one last thing before we
Yeah.
get to our sponsor.
Okay.
So, with the recruiting, you remember how you were like, oh, there's infinite 3-stars?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out we're going for all infinite 3-star linemen. Everybody in this league, if you look at like a 3-star, it's got like 6 offers already. Dude, it is a rat race.
Well, I put all my recruiting points because I chose a recruiter profile for my coach.
We'll have to talk about that.
And and I emphasize offensive line above everything else.
Does it let you pick what you want to emphasize?
Oh,
really?
yeah. Offensive linemen are automatically more interested in coming to Hawaii and eating poi.
Yeah.
And dude, my guys, it's like first all down the
really?
line. Oh, dude,
you're gonna have a monster offensive line.
Yeah. But that'll be all. That'll be all I have.
What about defensive line? Does it help there? Or
no, because that's each position group is a separate recruiting trait.
So you have to spend money.
You got to spend your coins, yeah. And so I maxed out offensive and defensive line first, and then running backs.
You have maxed those out, so 4 out of 4.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it really helps because now instead of 50 points, I can spend 65 points.
Oh.
And my points give me more.
Oh my god.
And I start
so
with
why aren't you going for like 4-star guys then?
Well, I'm trying to this year get a couple of those, but there's a lot of competition for those. There's way less 4-star guys than there are 3. All right, so that's this season. We'll see how it goes. The next game, I had really tight game and lost in overtime at Arizona. Okay. That was a heartbreaker. And now I just beat Sam Houston, so I'm doing all right. Yeah, 2-1. Not bad. Yep. All right, so our sponsor, once again, we are sponsored by Rich's brother Joe at Centennial Real Estate. And their website is LV Full House Realty. And guys, Joe is a fucking banger of a real estate agent because all these real estate agents, they're like, oh, yeah, I guess I'll show you a house. Why don't you look at the MLS for a while and see if you find something you like? No, Joe ain't like that.
No, Joe's not about that life.
No.
Yeah,
dude.
so he is like a full scale. He's very successful in real estate.
He is.
Which, if you would have asked me 15 years ago or 20 years ago, where's my brother going to be? It would not have been as like this little real estate mogul. I'm very proud of him, right? And, I'm happy and proud.
He drives a fancy car.
Yeah, I'm proud to have him as our sponsor right now. Like, hopefully he can, this is just another bill to him, right? But, he will get you that house. He works like crazy hours. He does it, man. That guy is like, he is available like a hooker.
Right,
more or
at
less.
the expense of his family.
At the expense of everything else. Yeah,
that dude will get you a house.
Yeah, he will get you a house. He's a go getter.
Right.
He's a hustler, baby. He's out there. Right. He's doing it all.
Right. But if you want that full service realtor, look, dude. If you want to just use your friend, 7 of your friends are a realtor.
Oh,
and
sure.
You can do that.
He offered to get me a real estate license already.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
I'm like, I don't know. I kind of like my current job. I think I'm gonna stay. And he's like, oh, you could be making this money.
It's kind of like being in like Lululemon.
Yeah.
That's what real estate is. Like, everybody is doing that, trying to do it on the side. But this ain't on the side.
No.
It's his gig.
Yeah, this is his full-time gig. Yeah. And let me tell you, if you need a house to go, just for gaming, and you got that kind of scratch,
there you go.
Maybe you live in the, the ghetto, but you got like he doesn't do like rentals or nothing like that. He will sell you a house, a condo, things like that. If you contact him, he will find that pad. Get you into it at a good price. He's fair. He
knows the market.
Yeah, he knows the market, dude. He's super, like, he is like a real estate nerd, like with the contracts and all that stuff.
You know what I'd like is a house with a casita. Yeah. I don't know what they call them where you live, but out here in the Southwest, they're called a casita, which is a little house that's in the backyard, and it's like the mother-in-law house or something like that. But for me, that'd be like, well, the Jack Shack, obviously. But that's the place where you go. And like, dude, I could just live in that little house. And I don't need all this shit in this house.
Me and you both
need fucking peace.
Yeah, dude, I could live like in my little roll room.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as I got like a few things in there.
As long as it's air conditioned.
Sure.
Dude, you can put the TV in, put the PlayStation in.
Yeah, I'd be fine.
Golden. Yep, exactly. So yeah, Joe can find a house like that for you. Again, that's Centennial Real Estate.
LVFullHouseRealty.com. Yep. Go check him out today if you're in Vegas, or I don't know if he's licensed anywhere else. I don't know. He's talked about selling real estate in like Tennessee and things like that.
Dude, he should get into like the Bahamas and like Cayman Islands and shit like that. That's where the real money is.
So anyway, contact him. All right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.